Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After Lulu and Spinelli broke in, they had to hide from Sunny and Lucy. According to the General Hospital recap on Monday, March 3rd, Lulu Spencer and Damian Spinelli had to hide from Sunny Corinthos and Lucy Coe after their break-in. This is how it all transpired. Lulu asked Spinelli for assistance at Bobby's in order to bypass the security system and explore Valentine Cassadine's former home. When Dante Falconeri arrived with Giovanni Gio Palmieri and overheard Lulu and Spinelli having a private talk, he became suspicious. But for the time being, Dante ignored it and sat down with Gio at a table across the restaurant. Gio revealed that he recently went too far with Tracy Quartermaine, but Dante said Tracy appreciated it when you confronted her. Because she had invited Martin Gray to accompany her, Alexis Davis arrived at the Quartermaine home before he did. Tracy and Martin argued for a while before Tracy gave in and agreed not to enforce the cease and desist order that prohibited Drew Quartermaine from using the Quartermaine name. Martin implied that it was his responsibility to report it, interpreting that as confirmation that Tracy was aware they were over the property boundary. Tracy became so agitated that she decided to reverse her decision and proceed with the cease and desist order. Tracy even tried to get Martin arrested for trespassing by calling Dante, but Dante declined and instead attempted to defuse the situation. In the end, Martin voluntarily took off. Gio, on the other hand, made an effort to remind Tracy of the 555 rule that his mother had always discussed. Asking whether anything will still matter in 5 minutes, 5 months, or 5 years was crucial whenever you were upset. Tracy expressed gratitude for Joe's remarks, and that he'd given her a lot to consider. Nevertheless, Tracy ultimately defended her choice to proceed with the cease and desist order because the Quartermaine name was so significant. On Monday's GH episode, Spinelli then turned off the security system and accompanied Lulu inside Valentine's suburban home. Lulu and Spinelli sensed someone approaching and hid in Valentine's office area as they were getting ready to search. Lucy ended up taking Sunny around and highlighting how safe it was because he needed a new place. Lucy shyly acknowledged that she was finally getting around to telling Sunny about Valentine's previous home after Christina Corinthos Davis arrived and pretended to be surprised. Sunny was prepared to make a bargain, but since Christina acknowledged that this enormous mansion would be far superior to Ava Jerome's small flat and believed Avery would adore it, Lulu felt certain that Martin was concealing Valentine's information, so once they were alone, she suggested to Spinelli that they should go to his house next. Brad Cooper purchased a drink for Lucas Jones in Miami before they reminisced at the bar. When Lucas finally made a suggestion that he might try again, passion flared and he ended up with Brad in a hotel room. Before Brad hit the bed, the clothes began to come off, but he ordered Lucas to stop. Brad appeared to be about to provide updates on his threat of blackmail, because he couldn't accomplish this without Lucas knowing the truth. Drew broke up Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson's evening at the Metro Court back in Port Charles. An argument erupted involving Portia, when Drew criticized Curtis for betraying Congressman Henderson. Portia was concerned that this would be terrible news because Drew made it apparent that he wanted retribution and stomped off. Curtis didn't believe Drew had any authority over him, but shortly after, Drew asked Selena Wu for it. While Selena had dirt on Portia, she didn't have any on Curtis. Drew promised to perform her a favor in the future after Selena gave him proof that Portia had manipulated her test findings, and he predicted that this information would be useful. Sasha Gilmore Corbin told Jason Morgan in the Quartermaine kitchen that Carly Spencer had offered her a job and a room until she saved up enough money for a new apartment. Jason offered to only cover the cost of the new location, but Sasha reiterated her insistence on being independent. Jen Sidwell arrived to make Sasha an offer after Jason had left. Sidwell reassured her that he wasn't there to harm her, but Sasha snatched a meat mallet and threatened to scream if he didn't go. Sidwell, on the other hand, promised Sasha $250,000 if she could persuade the group at Deception that the entire warehouse incident was a major misunderstanding. Sidwell claimed he wanted her to relate the whole tale of the stolen diamond and how he was unable to report it to the police, but Sasha thought he was asking her to lie. In essence, Sidwell intended Sasha to blame Holly Sutton and receive a sizable payment for it. Jason became furious and told Sidwell to leave Sasha when he returned and saw that Sidwell was present. Keep an eye out for Jason and Sidwell's upcoming confrontation. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sidwell sends a crypto invitation to Alexis. What's actually on the agenda? What are Jen Sidwell's real motivations? General Hospital teasers and updates hint that Alexis Davis will soon receive an enigmatic invitation from Windmere. Let's examine Sidwell's reasons for contacting the Cassadine relative and take a closer look at the intriguing invitation that Alexis is receiving. Are you called to Spoon Island? Alexis will find out that she has been called to Spoon Island on March 6. Now that Sidwell has the island, he will probably be the one to encourage her to go to the next launch and meet him there. Sidwell, who is renowned for being mysterious, might not be explicit about the purpose of this meeting. Instead, he might just say that he has some significant issues to address. Sidwell might make it seem as though he needs Alexis' legal knowledge immediately, which would make the meeting seem more significant. We believe Sidwell may have ulterior motives, especially because he probably wants Alexis to come to Windmere. Ultimately, he may simply set up a meeting with her at her workplace, or in a public setting such as the Metro Court. Location significance. Sidwell's desire to speak with Alexis at the famous Cassadine mansion may be very significant. It could be innocent. Perhaps he discovered a Cassadine item. Again, though, he may have met her somewhere. Sidwell had already tried to convince Alexis to visit Windmere and see the changes he had made in the January 21st episode of GH. Alexis, on the other hand, declined, expressing no sentimental attachment to the haunting mansion and a desire to forget her past existence as Natasha Cassadine and everything that went along with it. That issue is resolved because Alexis has already given up the title to Spoon Island, but Sidwell is adamant that she appear. However, Alexis's interest is likely to be sparked when Sidwell makes another, more forceful offer to Spoon Island. Will Alexis's situation raise red flags? Will Alexis be uneasy, wondering if this is a mistake? Will her thirst for knowledge drive her to Windmere in spite of her misgivings? There is no doubt that Sidwell will be intrigued by her association with the Cassadine family. While some fans question if Sidwell has a grudge against the Cassadine dynasty, others conjecture that he may even be a long-lost member of the clan. Untold tales can be hiding in the shadows, just waiting to be revealed. In any case, Sidwell has purchased the old Cassadine property and will probably invite Alexis to visit him, which begs many concerns about his real motivations. Sidwell's fate is held by Jason, Portia vs. Drew, and Dante and Brooklyn Sparks. Tuesday, March 4, 2025. General Hospital spoilers are available. Fans can anticipate learning about Jen Sidwell's demise at the hands of Jason Morgan in tomorrow's episode. Additionally, Laura Collins approaches Curtis Ashford, and Drew Kane Quartermain corners Portia Robinson. Finally, Dante Falconeri is reminded of his previous relationship with Brooklyn Quartermain chased by Cody Bell. Portia Robinson's difficult predicament. Supporters can anticipate Portia being threatened on Tuesday, March 4. Selena Wu provided Drew with information regarding Portia's test tampering. Brad Cooper gave the evidence to Selena in order to pay off a debt. Drew threatens Portia in Miami while Brad is frantically making kisses with Lucas Cooper. In relation to Brad, he ultimately confesses. Returning to Portia, she might be forced to abide with Drew's requests. But thanks to Drew, Portia isn't the only one going through a crisis. Questions for Laura Collins Ashford Curtis. She walks over to Curtis with Laura. Laura will question him in addition to giving him some news. There are moments when Laura has a sixth sense. What would Curtis respond when Laura asks him how he avoided Drew? Jen Sidwell's destiny. According to tomorrow's General Hospital spoilers, Jason will aim a gun at Sidwell. In a sneak peek, Jason informs the antagonist that he has the final say in what transpires. Sidwell isn't leaving, of course. This is only the beginning of his story. Before Jason pulls the gun, someone probably interrupts him. Sidwell also talks a lot. He most likely says that he was merely attempting to assist his ex-girlfriend's daughter or anything similar. Even when confronted, Sidwell never acknowledges his wrongdoing. Always there is a misunderstanding. But Sasha Gilmore Corbin's choice might be made much simpler if Sidwell could simply enter the Quartermain estate in that manner. March 4, 2025, Tuesday. She shares something with Tracy Quartermain about Sasha. With a last voice and a smile, Tracy replies, That changes everything. She informs Willow Tate Corinthos that she is pushing Michael Corinthos too far over with Carly Spencer. In addition, Emma Scorpio Drake confides in Giovanni Gio Palmieri about it. In other news, Cody Bell cautions Dante that Lulu Spencer is unaware of the depth of his relationship with Brooke Lynn. What will happen to Dante BLQ and the other characters now that Lulu is going to learn the truth about Joe's parentage? People are criticizing John Lindstrom for quitting General Hospital. Or at any rate, everyone believes he's discharged from General Hospital. For all the information you require, continue reading below. People are criticizing John Lindstrom for leaving General Hospital. Best recognized for his portrayal of Kevin Collins on General Hospital, John Lindstrom has joined the CBS series Beyond the Gates. Because he is currently filming his new soap opera in Atlanta, everyone has believed that the actor has departed General Hospital, even though he has neither confirmed nor refuted the allegations. He can't be in two places at once, can he? One critic started the discussion on social media by writing, "I have seen you on there yet, and Beyond the Gates hasn't been any good since it started. For this, why would you leave GH? He will make his debut this Friday," and many fans and reviewers responded to the comment by saying, "It's way better than that soap so far. Why wouldn't he go to a new program with a fresh character and earn real airtime? Are you serious? I watched all of them plus the previews the week before for 3 days," another critic remarked. "Simply looks phony. He left her for his daughter's friend, much like the father who married his daughter's best friend and Danny used to play on BNB. What's going on in Port Charles with John Lindstrom?" Additionally, this comment was made. "So far, the production, writing, casting, and performance are all flawless. There is talk around the show. To each their own. You are not required to watch." As of right now, John Lindstrom has not commented on the situation. Needless to say, fans of General Hospital will just have to watch every single day to see what happens next. Who shot Drew? A mystery unfolds in Genoa City. The Young and the Restless has never been short on intrigue, and now with the shocking shooting of Drew, the residents of Genoa City find themselves caught in a web of secrets, betrayal, and revenge. As the investigation unfolds, the question on everyone's mind is, who pulled the trigger? And more importantly, why? The night of the shooting, Drew was found in a secluded alleyway behind Society, bleeding from a gunshot wound. It was a quiet evening until a gunshot shattered the calm. By the time paramedics arrived, Drew was barely conscious, unable to reveal the identity of his attacker. Police have launched an investigation, but with so many in Genoa City holding grudges, the suspect list is long. The suspect list. 1. Adam Newman, a shady past. Adam Newman's past is riddled with deception, and his latest business dealings may have put him at odds with Drew. Was this a business deal gone wrong? Or did Drew uncover something Adam wanted hidden? Adam's tendency to operate in the gray areas of morality makes him a prime suspect. 2. Tucker McCall, a ruthless businessman. Tucker has been making power plays left and right. If Drew had become a roadblock to one of his deals, Tucker might have taken drastic measures to eliminate the problem. He has the resources and the cunning to orchestrate such an attack. 3. Billy Abbott, a personal vendetta. Billy and Drew have clashed in the past, and their rivalry has only intensified in recent months. If Drew posed a threat to Billy's interests, could he have snapped? While Billy is known for his reckless behavior, would he go so far as to commit attempted murder? 4. Victoria Newman, a woman with secrets. Victoria has proven time and again that she will do whatever it takes to protect her family and her business. If Drew had information that could bring Newman Enterprises down, Victoria might have decided to silence him before he could act. 5. Phyllis Summers, a woman scorned. Phyllis has a history of vengeance, and if Drew had crossed her, she would not hesitate to make him pay. Did a secret deal or a past betrayal push her to the edge? 6. A mystery figure from the past. Could Drew's shooting be linked to someone from his past? Someone the audience has yet to meet, or a character returning for revenge? A former rival or an ex-lover with a score to settle could be the missing puzzle piece. Clues and red herrings. As the investigation deepens, new clues begin to surface. The bullet recovered from the crime scene suggests a professional job, pointing toward someone with experience in violence. Security footage from surrounding businesses is being analyzed, but so far, nothing conclusive has emerged. Witnesses report seeing a shadowy figure fleeing the scene, but no one can confirm an identity. Further complicating matters, Drew had been keeping secrets of his own. Could his past dealings have come back to haunt him? Lulu and Spinelli's break-in, forced to hide from Sunny and Lucy. The night was unusually quiet in Port Charles, the kind of quiet that made Lulu Spencer feel restless. She had always been drawn to adventure, to the thrill of uncovering secrets, and tonight was no different. Her partner in crime, Damian Spinelli, sat beside her in his beat-up car, his fingers flying across the keyboard of his laptop. The glow of the screen illuminated his face, highlighting the determination in his eyes. "Are you sure about this, Lulu?" Spinelli asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and nervousness. Breaking into Sonny Corinthos's warehouse is not exactly a walk in the park. "If we get caught." "We won't get caught," Lulu interrupted, her tone confident. "Besides, we're not breaking in to steal anything. We're just gathering information. Sonny's been acting strange lately and I want to know why." "Don't you?" Spinelli hesitated. He had always been loyal to Jason Morgan, Sonny's right-hand man, and by extension to Sonny himself. But Lulu had a way of convincing him to do things he wouldn't normally consider. Her passion was infectious, and Spinelli couldn't help but admire her courage. "All right," he said finally, closing his laptop. "But if things go south, I'm blaming you." Lulu grinned. "Deal." The warehouse loomed ahead, its dark silhouette cutting through the night sky. Sonny Corinthos was known for his legitimate business ventures, but rumors had always swirled about the less-than-legal activities that took place behind closed doors. Lulu had heard whispers of a new shipment arriving tonight, something that could explain Sonny's recent behavior. She was determined to find out what it was. Spinelli had hacked into the security system earlier that day, disabling the cameras and alarms. It was a risky move, but he was confident in his skills. As they approached the side entrance, Lulu pulled a lockpicking set from her bag and went to work. Within seconds, the door clicked open. "Show off," Spinelli muttered, earning a playful smirk from Lulu. The inside of the warehouse was dimly lit, with stacks of crates and boxes filling the space. Lulu and Spinelli moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing softly against the concrete floor. Spinelli pulled out a small device to scan for any hidden cameras or sensors, while Lulu began inspecting the crates. "This one's labeled office supplies," she whispered, prying open the lid. Inside, however, were stacks of cash and bundles of documents. "Bingo!" Spinelli joined her, his eyes widening as he sifted through the papers. "These are shipping manifests and financial records. Lulu, this is big. If Sonny's involved in something illegal, this could..." Before he could finish, the sound of voices outside the warehouse cut through the silence. Lulu and Spinelli froze, their hearts pounding. "That's Sonny," Lulu whispered, recognizing the deep, commanding tone. "And, Lucy, what's she doing here?" The door to the warehouse creaked open, and Lulu grabbed Spinelli's arm, pulling him behind a stack of crates. They crouched down, barely daring to breathe as Sonny and Lucy Coe entered the building. Sonny Corinthos was a man who commanded respect, his presence alone enough to make most people think twice about crossing him. But tonight he seemed unusually tense. Lucy Coe, on the other hand, was as composed as ever, her sharp eyes scanning the room. "I don't like this, Sonny," Lucy said, her voice low but firm. "If anyone finds out about our arrangement, it could ruin both of us." "No one's going to find out," Sonny replied, his tone brooking no argument. "As long as we stick to the plan, everything will be fine." Lulu exchanged a glance with Spinelli, her mind racing. What arrangement were they talking about? And why was Lucy involved? She leaned closer, trying to catch every word. "I hope you're right," Lucy said, crossing her arms. "Because if this blows up in our faces, I'm not going down with you." Sonny's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. Instead, he walked over to one of the crates and opened it, pulling out a small, ornate box. Lulu's eyes widened as she recognized it. It was the same box she had seen in her father's study years ago, the one he had always refused to talk about. "Is that it?" Lucy asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Sonny nodded. "This is the key to everything. Once we hand it over, our problems disappear." Lulu's mind was spinning. What was in the box? And why was it so important? She had to find out. But before she could make a move, Spinelli grabbed her arm, shaking his head urgently. "We need to get out of here," he mouthed, his eyes wide with fear. Lulu hesitated, torn between her curiosity and the very real danger of being discovered. Reluctantly, she nodded, and the two of them began to inch their way toward the exit. Just as they reached the door, Spinelli's foot caught on a loose piece of flooring, sending him stumbling into a stack of crates. The sound echoed through the warehouse and Lulu's heart sank. "What was that?" Lucy demanded, her voice sharp. "Stay here," Sonny ordered, his hand moving to the gun at his side. Lulu and Spinelli froze, their minds racing. There was no way they could make it out without being seen. Thinking quickly, Lulu grabbed Spinelli's hand and pulled him into a nearby storage closet, closing the door just as Sonny and Lucy rounded the corner. The closet was cramped and dark, the air thick with dust. Lulu and Spinelli pressed themselves against the wall, their breaths coming in shallow gasps. Outside, they could hear Sonny and Lucy searching the area. "I don't see anyone," Lucy said after a moment. "Maybe it was just a rat." "Maybe," Sonny replied, though he didn't sound convinced. "But we can't take any chances. I'll have someone sweep the area tomorrow." Lulu's heart pounded as she listened to their footsteps recede. She knew they weren't out of the woods yet. If Sonny decided to search the closet, they were done for. Minutes passed, each one feeling like an eternity. Finally, they heard the sound of the warehouse door closing, followed by the faint rumble of a car engine. Lulu let out a shaky breath, her legs trembling with relief. "That was too close," Spinelli whispered, his face pale. "Yeah," Lulu agreed, her mind still racing. "But we found something big, Spinelli. Something really big." As they made their way back to the car, Lulu couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled onto something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. The box, the documents, Sonny's tension, Lucy's involvement. It all pointed to a conspiracy that went deeper than she had imagined. "What do we do now?" Spinelli asked as they drove away from the warehouse. Lulu was silent for a moment, her gaze fixed on the road ahead. "We need to figure out what's in that box," she said finally, "and why Sonny and Lucy are so desperate to keep it hidden." Spinelli nodded, though he looked far from convinced. "Just promise me one thing, Lulu." "What's that?" "That we'll be careful. Sonny Corinthos isn't someone to mess with, and if Lucy's involved, it's even more dangerous." Lulu smiled faintly. "I promise." But deep down, she knew that careful wasn't in her nature. She was a Spencer after all, and Spencers didn't back down from a challenge. Whatever secrets Sonny and Lucy were hiding, she was determined to uncover them, no matter the cost. Alexis receives a cryptic invitation from Sidwell. What's the real agenda? The envelope arrived on a Tuesday morning, its crisp edges and heavy parchment paper standing out among the usual bills and junk mail. Alexis Harper wasn't one to receive handwritten letters, let alone one sealed with a wax emblem bearing the initials SW. The sender's name was elegantly scrawled across the front, Sidwell. No first name, no return address. Just Sidwell. Alexis turned the envelope over in her hands, her curiosity piqued. The wax seal, a deep crimson, bore the image of a serpent coiled around a key. It felt archaic, almost theatrical, as though it belonged to another era. She hesitated for a moment, her instincts tingling with a mix of intrigue and unease. Who was Sidwell? And why had they chosen her? With careful precision, she broke the seal and unfolded the letter. The message inside was brief, written in the same elegant script. "Dear Ms. Harper, your presence is requested at the Sidwell estate on Friday evening at precisely 8 p.m. Formal attire is required. Transportation will be provided. Kindly RSVP by return messenger. Yours sincerely, Sidwell." There was no further explanation, no indication of the purpose of the invitation. Alexis frowned, her mind racing. She had never heard of the Sidwell estate, nor did she know anyone by that name. Yet the invitation felt personal, as though it had been crafted specifically for her. The mention of a return messenger was equally baffling. How was she supposed to respond? And who would deliver her reply? As she pondered the strange request, a knock at the door startled her. She opened it to find a young man in a tailored suit standing on her doorstep. He held a small silver tray in his hands, his expression neutral but expectant. "Miss Harper," he said, his voice smooth and polite. I am here to collect your response. Alexis blinked, taken aback. My response? To the invitation, he clarified, gesturing to the letter in her hand. Will you be attending? The efficiency of the delivery and the immediacy of the response request only deepened the mystery. Alexis hesitated, her instincts warring between caution and curiosity. Something about the situation felt off, yet she couldn't deny the pull of the unknown. Who was Sidwell? What did they want with her? And why had they gone to such lengths to ensure her attendance? Yes, she said finally, her voice steady despite the unease churning in her stomach. I'll be there. The young man nodded, producing a small card from his pocket and placing it on the tray. Your transportation will arrive at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. Please be ready. With that, he turned and left, leaving Alexis standing in her doorway, the cryptic invitation clutched in her hand. She couldn't shake the feeling that she had just stepped into something far bigger and far more dangerous than she could have imagined. The Sidwell estate. Friday evening arrived, and true to the messenger's word, a sleek black car pulled up outside Alexis's apartment at precisely 7:30 p.m. The driver, a silent figure in a dark uniform, opened the door for her without a word. Alexis slid into the back seat, her heart pounding as the car glided through the city streets and into the countryside. The Sidwell estate was unlike anything she had ever seen. Nestled deep within a dense forest, the mansion loomed like a relic from another time. Its Gothic architecture was both imposing and mesmerizing, with towering spires, intricate stone carvings, and windows that seemed to glint like eyes in the moonlight. The grounds were immaculate, with manicured gardens and a long winding driveway lined with flickering lanterns. As the car came to a stop at the grand entrance, Alexis stepped out, her breath catching in her throat. The air was thick with the scent of pine and something else, something she couldn't quite place. It was almost metallic, like the tang of blood. The massive oak doors swung open as she approached, revealing a grand foyer lit by a crystal chandelier. A butler, dressed in formal attire, greeted her with a bow. Miss Harper, he said, his voice low and resonant. Welcome to the Sidwell estate. The others are waiting. The others? Alexis asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The butler didn't respond, instead gesturing for her to follow him down a long dimly lit hallway. The walls were lined with portraits of stern-faced men and women, their eyes seeming to follow her as she passed. The air grew colder with each step, and Alexis couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. At the end of the hallway, the butler opened a set of double doors and ushered her into a lavish dining room. A long table stretched the length of the room, set with fine china and crystal goblets. Seated around the table were 6 other guests, all dressed in formal attire and wearing expressions that ranged from curiosity to outright suspicion. At the head of the table sat a man who could only be Sidwell. He was tall and gaunt, with sharp features and piercing blue eyes that seemed to see straight through her. His hair was silver, swept back from his forehead, and he wore a tailored suit that exuded power and authority. Ah, Miss Harper, he said, his voice smooth and commanding. We've been expecting you. Please take a seat. Alexis hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to turn and run. But something in Sidwell's gaze held her in place, a magnetic pull that she couldn't resist. She took the empty seat at the far end of the table, her eyes darting around the room as she tried to make sense of the situation. The real agenda. As the first course was served, Sidwell began to speak, his voice carrying an air of authority that commanded the room's attention. You are all here tonight because you possess something unique, he said, his gaze sweeping over the assembled guests. A talent, a skill, a quality that sets you apart from the ordinary. I have been watching you for some time, and I believe you are the key to achieving something extraordinary. Alexis's mind raced. What could he possibly mean? She was an ordinary woman, living an ordinary life. What could she have that Sidwell would want? The other guests seemed equally perplexed, their murmurs of confusion echoing around the room. Sidwell raised a hand, silencing them with a single gesture. You are here to participate in a game, he continued. A game of strategy, intellect, and survival. The rules are simple. Solve the puzzles, uncover the secrets, and be the last one standing. The prize? A fortune beyond your wildest dreams, and the opportunity to join me in shaping the future. Alexis's heart sank as the reality of the situation began to dawn on her. This was no ordinary dinner party. It was a test, a challenge designed to push them to their limits. But what was the real purpose behind it? And why had Sidwell chosen them? As the evening wore on, the guests were led through a series of increasingly complex challenges, each one designed to test their wits, their courage, and their morality. Alexis found herself drawn into the game, her competitive spirit driving her to push harder, to dig deeper. But with each challenge, the stakes grew higher, and the line between reality and illusion began to blur. By the time the final challenge arrived, only 3 guests remained: Alexis, a man named Victor, and a woman named Elena. They were led to a darkened room, where a single object sat on a pedestal in the center, the serpent and key emblem from the wax seal. "The final challenge," Sidwell announced, his voice echoing in the stillness. "Unlock the secret of the key, and the prize is yours." Alexis stepped forward, her mind racing as she examined the emblem. It was then that she noticed the tiny inscription etched into the base. "The key lies within." As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Alexis realized the true nature of the game. It wasn't about wealth or power. It was about self-discovery, about unlocking the potential that lay hidden within each of them. Sidwell hadn't chosen them for their skills or talents. He had chosen them for their potential to become something more. With a deep breath, Alexis reached out and touched the emblem. The room was suddenly flooded with light, and she felt a surge of energy course through her. She had unlocked the secret, not just of the key but of herself. The aftermath. When the light faded, Alexis found herself standing alone in the foyer of the Sidwell estate. The mansion was silent, as though it had been abandoned for years. The other guests were gone, and there was no sign of Sidwell or the butler. In her hand, she held the serpent and key emblem, its surface warm to the touch. She didn't know what had happened to the others, or what the future held. But she knew one thing for certain. Her life would never be the same. As she stepped out into the night, the black car waiting to take her home, Alexis couldn't help but wonder if this was the end, or just the beginning. Sidwell's cryptic invitation had led her down a path she could never have imagined, and she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. But as the car pulled away from the estate, she couldn't shake the feeling that Sidwell was still watching, his piercing blue eyes following her every move. The game might be over, but the real agenda was only just beginning. Conclusion. The story of Alexis and the cryptic invitation from Sidwell is a tale of mystery, intrigue, and self-discovery. It explores the idea that sometimes, the greatest challenges we face are the ones that force us to confront our own potential. Sidwell's agenda, while initially shrouded in secrecy, ultimately serves as a catalyst for Alexis's transformation, pushing her to unlock the hidden depths of her own abilities. But the story also leaves room for further exploration. Who is Sidwell, really? What is the true purpose of his game? And what lies ahead for Alexis and the other guests? These unanswered questions add layers of complexity to the narrative, inviting readers to speculate and imagine the possibilities. In the end, the cryptic invitation is more than just a plot device. It's a metaphor for the unexpected opportunities that life presents, and the choices we make when faced with the unknown. For Alexis, the invitation is a turning point, a moment that changes the course of her life forever. And for the reader, it's a reminder that sometimes, the greatest adventures begin with a single mysterious step into the unknown.